Start. Section 3. Enthusiastic, enthusiasm, incorporated, independence, independent, independently, indispensable, indispensably, individual, individually, inform, informed, informer, interest, investment, neglect, neglected, negligence, never, November, sensible, sensibility, sensibly, electric, electrical, electricity, recoverable, irrecoverable, reform, reformed, reformer, regular, irregular, relinquish, relinquished, represent, represented, representation, representative, responsible, responsibility, irresponsible, irresponsibility, organize, organized, organizer, organization, certificate, uniform, uniformity, uniformly, unanimity, unanimous, unanimously, yesterday. Exercise 132. During the winter months, the committee of our institute organize a number of lectures, at each of which there is, as chairman, a well-known representative of local industries. Some of the committee are in favor of having subjects which allow only of one style of treatment. Our late secretary resigned because he thought that the committee neglected good opportunities of enlightening the public on some debatable topics which were discoursed upon by irresponsible individuals, somewhat ill-informed, and who were interested in the propagation of certain principles without any regard for the sensibilities of others. We regret that he should have thus relinquished duties which he had performed in a most disinterested manner, and we certainly think that such topics will have to be incorporated in our program, or we shall be guilty of a serious negligence and lose a connection which may be irrecoverable. Exercise 133. In November last, we had a lecture on electricity, and the chairman, in a very interesting speech, said He remembered the time when people were afraid of traveling by electric train or tram and regarded an investment in electrical undertakings as very unwise indeed. He had some anecdotes to tell of the life of the lecturer who formerly represented his native town in Parliament, but owing to being so irregular in his attendance at Westminster, he had to resign his seat. Although a man was never better qualified for the work. Several times he had complained of the want of independence of members, showed much indignation at the humiliating position in which he was often placed and looked upon the routine work of Parliament as very uninteresting. Among other things, one of which was a story of his escapades when a boy. The chairman mentioned that in his youth the lecturer was very regular in his attendance at the local technical school and gained several certificates for science subjects. On the representation of his tutor, a clever man who was responsible for the organization of a large electrical company, the governing director of which was a member of the automobile club. The lecturer specialized in electricity and now he was one of the foremost lecturers of the day and considered a first class organizer of electrical exhibitions. Exercise 134. Great interest is manifested in the electric apparatus at the local exhibition, the capable organizer of which is very enthusiastic in following the development of electricity and all electrical appliances. Our representative on the council is responsible for the negligence of the reform, and our committee is of the unanimous opinion that in the future its support cannot be given to one who has shown so much neglect of his duties, and it purposes nominating another and a better candidate for the November elections. Yesterday, the investment was sanctioned by those interested in the improvement of the association, and it was hoped that its previous position would soon be recoverable. When the association becomes incorporated, its certificate should be recognized by all similar organizations, some of which have shown considerable opposition towards it and displayed an inexcusable temper when the committee refused to relinquish the policy formulated several weeks ago. Exercise 135. The lecturer said, electricity is in evidence everywhere, and today it is an indispensable factor in the life of a progressive people. Despite the constant and enthusiastic efforts of electricians, the exact nature of electricity is unknown. Among the reforms for which science is responsible, none has been more singularly beneficial to the race than the application of electricity to the needs of mankind. The reformer is now turning his attention to domestic duties which are undergoing a revolution in the hands of the electrical engineer. Certainly, the reformation is very slow and it is very unfortunate that housewives in this country should show some opposition to methods of electric cooking, of electric cookers. He could not speak too enthusiastically. They do not fluctuate in temperature. The result obtained yesterday will be obtained today if the same conditions are imposed. He spoke of the sensibility of electric waves in the air and of the various methods of producing electricity which were far from being uniform and gave a wonderful account of the generating of electricity by the force of water. All were unanimous in their praise of the lecture. Exercise 136. There was a unanimity of opinion by all the reformers present that organized playgrounds were indispensable in the education of children, and it was resolved to make a representation to the council and to ask it to introduce uniformity in this matter throughout the county. This resolution was singularly unfortunate as it was the cause of friction between these individuals and the council. Regular subscribers to the institution showed arrogance at the irregular practices, and many informed the board that they would withdraw their support if such irresponsible actions were allowed, contrary to all the teachings of the past. We fear that no disinterested person was the informer in this matter, and probably he represented the circumstances to be more serious than they really are. The resignation of the secretary, however, will be demanded as his attitude amounts to insubordination and thus will cause the regret of all, no matter what their sensibility may be. The agenda of the next board meeting will be far from uninteresting and an apparently irrecoverable position may be turned to the advantage of the institution.